So now that we have Angular loaded, let's use it to do something. And I'm going to start with this table here, this department table, because it's self-contained and pretty easy to work on. So it's a good starting point. And I'm going to go to my HTML, and I'm going to find where the department table starts. Here it is. And I'm going to just cut everything out but the first data row and the header row. So all of these rows down to the bottom. And then I'm going to re-indent it a little bit so that I can see the structure a little better. So everything in here gets tabbed over once, and then everything inside the head and everything inside the body. And I'm doing this because Angular is scoped. So if I attach an app or a controller to this tag, then it's active until it hits the end of the scope. Or if I attach something here, it's active until it hits that scope, end of that scope. So what I want to do is I want to put this whole table, for now I'm going to put the whole table inside of an Angular module. And then I'm going to attach a controller here and use it to repeat these rows. So that's going to look like this. ng-app is equal to, and then I need a name for it. So let's call it department table app. We'll call that a module instead. And then here I'm going to attach a controller. So a controller is a piece of code that manipulates a model, and a model is a set of data. And then that set of data is displayed in a view, which is basically the HTML on the web page. So basically the controller is going to manipulate the model, and the model is going to affect what's displayed on the page. But the controller isn't going to talk to the page directly. It's only going to make changes to the model. So I need to tell the view, the page, how to fetch data out of the model. And the code that does that linkage, is going to be the controller. So I'm going to call that department table controller. And then the actual ng code is I want to repeat this row for each department in departments. So departments is going to be the list of departments that I get back from the PHP page. So basically this. So you have an object for the department and a mentor ID, so depth property and mentor ID property. And that comes from the backend web server when I fetch departments.php. So somehow I'm going to have to get this departments, and the controller is going to do that. And then once I have it, I'm going to display department.det. And I want to display department.lastName, but I don't have a last name property in my department. So for now, I'm just going to display mentor ID, and then I'm going to fix that later when I have the data I need. So this will repeat this row for each department that I have coming back in departments. And this is going to be in a module named department-table module. So let's go ahead and create the code for that module, and I'm going to save that as department table module.js. And I'm going to put this whole thing in a closure, and then I'm going to run the closure. And then inside, I'm going to start by creating a variable named app, which is going to be an Angular module. And I give it the name, which is going to match department table module. And then I give it a list of dependent modules, which I don't have yet. So I'm just going to give it an empty array. And then I'm going to create a controller for this app. and I give that a name too. And I give it a function. And then I have a bunch of options in terms of what I can pass into this function, and Angular will figure out some of them for me if I use the right names. So what I'm going to want here is a scope, which is basically a shared object that different controllers and directives can use to store data and retrieve data. It's basically the model. So if I store things in the scope, then those changes are going to be automatically reflected in my view. And I'm also going to give it the HTTP object so that I can use AJAX to fetch my department list. So then I execute some code, I close off my controller, and then the code I'm going to use is http.get, so I'm using Angular AJAX, and I give it a URL, departments.php, and this returns a promise object. And the promise object has success method and error method. So I'm going to define the success method as a callback that takes a response. So the response is going to be the data returned from the web server, does something with it, and that's it. So to start out with, I'm just going to call console.log of response to make sure that I get a result. And if I've done everything correctly, I should see that in my log. So let's go ahead and test it out and see what I get. So F12 and hit reload. So I have an error here, department table module. So I'm going to go ahead and put a breakpoint and hit reload, and then see if I have any clue from the backtrace. Not particularly. So it doesn't like an NG somewhere, so let me go ahead and take a look at my Angular code again. Let me go ahead and initialize departments. So scope.departments is equal to an empty array. So I get that callback. I don't think that's going to fix it, but it's a good thing to do anyhow. So we get rid of the breakpoint, reload, console. Oh, I forgot to load my JavaScript. Okay, so I have to load department table module here. So let's go ahead and put it right before the head ends. Script source equal department table module.js. And then go back here and reload. There we go. Okay, so now I'm seeing all of my JSON objects come back. So now all I have to do to make the table show those values, and this is kind of magical, is just set $scope.departments equal response. So this changes the value of the department's property in the scope. So this is one-way binding. And then two-way binding is a change to the value in the model causes a change to this right here. So that's all I have to do. And if I hit reload rather, now I get my list of departments and my list of mentor IDs.